What is going on, guys? My name is Powerbang. Welcome back to another PUBG Mobile video, and oh my goodness, this is one of the first types of these videos that I'm going to make as far as like a direct response to comments that came in from yesterday's video. Now, I'm really happy for the engagement and all of you guys watching the video. On one hand, I was kind of shocked that the amount of people that care enough about each little piece of loot on every guy in every building throughout a 30-minute long game. It's just so much hyper criticism of every little move. Like, my perspective is like when I go watch content on somebody's channel, I just enjoy it, man. Sit back and relax and kind of just enjoy the gameplay as a whole, but that's my personal perspective. But in this particular scenario, all of the comments literally were focused on a couple of key things. And they were about things that I missed in the looting process. And I say missed in air quotes here because I did not miss them. I left them behind on purpose. And those three things were an AR suppressor, a AR compensator, and a 3x scope. These are things that were pointed out by, I mean, literally hundreds of comments like, oh my God, you noob. Oh my God, what are you doing? You missed this. And there was only a couple of people that, you know, asked the question like, hey, you left behind these things. I'm sure you have a good reason for it. Why? So shout outs to those of you that actually asked the question. Yes, there is a reason for it, and I'm not only going to show you in this video what that is, but I'm also going to let you guys hear from some pros right now as I gear up and get ready to take these guns out to the range to show you what I'm talking about. So, without further ado, let's listen to my man Juicy, Ignix, and Thatguy, all PUBG pros, and they had no idea what I was going to ask them or that I wanted to talk to them, so let's hear some commentary and their opinions on how they use the AKM.
So what kind of questions are you going to ask us? Like a deep personal question?
No. Gameplay questions. Basically picking the brains of pro players, right?
Oh.
But I don't want to tell you what I'm going to ask because I want it to be an honest, real reaction.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You want it to be raw, like you
I want it to be raw. I want your actual response because I'm reading the comment section of my YouTube videos. Mm-hmm. And the same thing has come up like a zillion times. I wanted to ask you guys some questions really quickly. You know, just kind of pick your brains as a pro player. Basically, in yesterday's video, I skipped over a suppressor for an AR when I was rocking an AK. And I wanted to ask you, in your opinions, what is the superior attachment for an AKM? Would you rock a compensator or would you rock a suppressor? And why?
Compensator. Compensator all day.
Juicy, what do you say?
I rock a suppressor.
That guy, what do you say?
I use both. Compensator if I'm using the AK as my primary, and suppressor if I use it as a sniper.
Exactly. Okay. Juicy, how do you normally use your AK? So like your primary
AK,
close range?
I have close range. I use 30 meters. I use the iron sights, and then I just use the suppressor.
Iron sights, really?
Yeah, iron sights all the way. Like if you look at the PWK, there was one that was slightly longer than for the range when I knocked down Toon Squad. Two of them, I had a red dot. But if you look at the other match when I went against Max Squad,
right,
I used the iron sights because it was really close.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Ignix, what about you, man? You rock the compensator. Why?
But yeah, the compensator because like it affects the recoil more. Then I think it feels better. Like the suppressor is good. The difference isn't that much, but
gotcha.
Yeah.
For me, like I feel like there's a pretty significant difference in the recoil between the compensator and the suppressor. And like my loadouts, tell me if this makes sense or not. Like I'm almost always rocking a sniper rifle of some kind, like AWM, Kar 98, M24. Those are my go-tos. And if I'm not rocking one of those, SLR, SKS, or Mini. So that's kind of like my mid to long range option typically. And then for me, like close engagements are almost always going to be AK. Obviously, I'm not trying to arm people like inside houses. So like for me, I rock the compensators more often than not because I'm typically like in a full auto type of situation with the AK. So I rock compensator. The suppressor, I feel like what that guy was saying, I feel like that's a good option if you're like single fire, like tapping at a distance. But for me, I feel like there's usually better options than the AK at that range. But normally I would pick up, you know, something else. But every once in a while, you got what you got. So that's kind of how I break it down. Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy.
Right.
I think for me, my gameplay is different because I'm a full gyro player. Where even without a scope, I have gyro on. So
Yeah.
when it comes to control, when I ADS down sight with the AK, majority of the AK, if you use it a lot, it's majority gonna be vertical recoil, not so much horizontal until after the 7th shot or so. So
that's what I've noticed too.
Yeah, as long as you can compensate for the vertical recoil a lot, the spread won't be the horizontal spread won't be much of an issue because the range that you're going to be playing with. So full auto, you're not going to use it like 100. You're gonna below that. So like having full auto with full gyro really helps, and you can compensate a lot of that vertical recoil whenever you're shooting.
Gotcha. So you're a full gyro player, and you use that a lot to help with your recoil control.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Last question is kind of a follow-up to this one. When rocking the AK, are you guys picking up, like, what's your ideal sight for it? I know, Juicy, you already kind of said you rock irons, but what about up to, mid-range?
Mid-range, I know for length, like 100 meters, like you only can probably drill like 2 shots downrange per 50. So I usually just use the red dot all the way.
Okay.
Like I carry 2 AKs sometimes.
And AK is like your baby, right? That's your favorite weapon?
Right.
Gotcha.
So then I use a secondary AK. If I can't find DMR, I'll use a secondary AK with the silencer, and I'll pop on it 4 times, and I'll single shot it, and it'll be like my DMR,
Gotcha. That guy, what about you? What side are you rocking typically with the AK?
So I don't use it as primary much, but when I do, it's no more than a red dot. But typically, if I have an AK, it's in place of a Car 9, so I have a 6X on it or 4X on it.
That's in the situation where you're like single fire from range, suppressed.
Exactly.
But
if
rocking
I
primary.
An AK and I'm rocking primaries, no more than a red dot.
What about you, Ignix? What are you rocking on your AK?
Usually I have red dot, but I feel like a 2X can be pretty nice on it. After the new update on the 2X.
But like as you start to get up like 3X, 4X, hard to aim, hard to control the recoil.
Yeah. Like sometimes I can do a 4X on an AK and still spray with it. It's all up to length and stuff.
Yeah, so to give my opinion, I didn't want to like influence you guys on your answers or anything like that. Like for me, the red dot is about as high as I want to go with the AK. And like you said, the 2X I would consider. Like 2X is my favorite scope usually. Well, the 3 is honestly on most weapons, but across the board on almost any weapon, like a 2X I really like. So I'm happy for that typically with an AK, but I feel like with that weapon in particular, the red dot, or even like Juicy's said with iron sights, like the recoil control is so much easier. So normally I'm rocking it in short to, short mid-range engagements. And if they're further out than that, I'll just snipe them. But yeah, compensator and red dot for me was kind of like my ideal setup for the AK. That's all the questions I had. I just kind of wanted to get your guys' raw reaction on that. I'm going to talk to Rolex too and see what he says. But yeah, dudes, thanks. All right, guys, so welcome back. Hopefully you appreciated their insights. I know I did. Juicy's actually surprised me, to be honest with you. He doesn't use any sights at all. Interesting. Like the iron sight AK is what he preferred. And what does that actually look like? We'll go ahead and take a look right here. That's what this looks like as he uses this to fire at people. So really, really interesting perspective from Juicy himself. But other than that, you heard for the most part, for a primary weapon, compensator is the overwhelming favorite amongst the pros. So that's kind of the same boat that I fall in. The top AK right there is my ideal loadout. I went with quick draw mags for this particular scenario simply because 30 shots are easier to manage full auto than 40 because my hand will literally run off the screen. So I wanted to kind of keep it shorter mags, but a quick draw is ideal. But on the top one, you've got a red dot and a compensator, which is what I prefer to run. I'll show you why in just a minute. And what you guys were so adamant about in the comments was the 3x scope and the AR suppressor, and I've equipped that on the bottom AK. So let's go ahead and actually figure out, as this guy trolls me, what that actually means. So first of all, let's take a look at, I don't know, that 100-meter sign out there. We'll just come right in here, and we're going to light this guy up with the compensator. Every single bullet on target. Not bad. A little bit closer range. Headshots here. Not too bad at all with the compensator. Everything pretty much right there. And again, even closer We'll grab the compensator, and yeah, pretty much all center mass. Very, very accurate there with the compensator red dot. What about at range, right? We'll get a little bit farther out than close and medium. Well, not medium. I'm talking close and like ultra close. So if we go here, and I'm aiming at the 100-meter sign, what if I go full auto from this distance? A little bit more wild, but a lot of shots still on target if I get more straight on with it. So again, red dot is not bad from this range, but let's go ahead and as we're zooming in from this range, instead of full auto, so you can kind of get an idea of like firing pattern from this distance, or even more precise. So you guys can get an idea of that as well. So that's kind of what you would do from here. But in the scenario that I am using, my primary weapon is the AK. I have a secondary weapon which I use for long-range engagements, a sniper rifle. Either a Kar 98, an M24, or an AWM is my primary sniper rifle choice. It's a bolt action. 95% of games, I'm rocking a sniper as my secondary. So the AK is going to be intended for ranges probably from here to the 100-meter sign, this distance, or shorter. If I'm beyond this, I'm probably going to be busting out the sniper rifle, right? With a scope on it. Looks something like this, but with a sniper. So that's kind of something that I'm going to do every game. Every player is different. But if the AK is your primary weapon, you know, when you see somebody and you've got a compensator, it is so much easier to control. It's time to take a look at the suppressor now. What you guys would have me use, I'm not saying everybody, you guys, but the large majority of the comments, let's figure out exactly what that looks like. So here we'll get a little bit closer even, put the 3 times there, and you can see I'm already at the bottom. That was not me like exaggerating by any means. Already at the bottom of my screen, I'm pulling down as hard as I can, and I'm literally, you can see on my hand cam where I'm gripping. I'll start center mass. I'll grip all the way up on my backpack on the very top. You can see my thumb. Grip all the way up there and start pulling down. I was able to pull it down super hard, but not accurate at all, and no ability to go side to side. But you can see how much more difficult that is to control, and that's at close range. What happens if we get out to medium range a little bit like I was with the other one? A little bit easier, but again, I mean, it's all over the place at full auto. To compare the same exact distance with a red dot and a compensator, there's no comparison at all. None. Very, very accurate with the compensator. Very, very inaccurate and difficult. Had to re-grip once, re-grip twice. Re-grip twice in a 30-round burst. That's just not going to happen. So what about... There's kind of what Juicy's talking about. You can see the climb there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And still, even in those 7 shots, off target. And we'll start again. Off target. It's that quick. It's literally 4 bullets, and then you're off target. So that's the most you can fire with the suppressor, really, is about 4 bullets. Before it just takes off on you. You can see how it rises. So if you fire it like that every single time, great. But a lot of times you're not in a position to be able to burst fire on somebody when you see them in a house. So that's why I say the red dot and the compensator are my personal favorite loadout. But let's go ahead, swap you know, scopes a little bit here and take a look at the compensator with, say, a 2 times on it. Even with the 2 times on it, which is not a super zoomed in scope, it is still very difficult to control, full auto. As you get like super close, it's a little bit easier, but again, you see the side to side there. I mean, I'm actually kind of surprised that, yeah, man, I'm actually just kind of surprised. It's really kind of crazy. When you go back to a red dot right here, it's not hard. It's simply not. The other thing that I would like to point out is that the holographic sight and the red dot function exactly the same as far as like control on the weapon. So whichever one that you prefer between the red dot and the holographic, by all means, use it. It's all good. So that's kind of introduction to the AK. The flash hider itself is not bad. It's actually far closer to the compensator accuracy than the suppressor accuracy. The compensator does improve accuracy quite a bit from no attachment at all on the muzzle, but the suppressor actually makes it far, far, far worse on the weapon. So it's something that you definitely need to pay attention to and realize that if you do have a suppressor on an AK, that doesn't mean that you have a bad loadout. You just have to use it differently. Now, what do I mean by that? In the scenario where you're using the AK as your weapon, right? It's your primary weapon. That means that you're rocking it. Oh my God, this dude, I just want to look over and pop him right in his level 3 helmet. You basically are rocking the AK as a primer, which means if you see somebody, you're coming up on them and shooting. You know, it's so accurate with a compensator, and you can see at multiple ranges here, just headshot after headshot, and it can reach out and touch somebody for quite a ways. Anyways, hopefully that gives you an idea of the compensator and its accuracy. But now let's take a look at the suppressor and the different use case for this. Now, if the AK, if you're rocking, say, 2 assault rifles, right? So you're rocking, I don't know, a SCAR and an AK, and you want to use your SCAR as kind of your primary and your AK as your secondary. That's okay, that's fine, but I recommend turning your AK to single fire, equipping the suppressor as shown, and then rocking a higher end scope, like a 6x here, or a 4x, or a 3, and you turn it into a tapping machine, right? You can aim way out and touch, you know, whatever you want. Realize that it's a really slow, slow firing round. Whoa, that thing, you see how slow that is? I'm literally firing right on top of something, and you have to compensate for it. It's basically like the Kar 98, but even slower than that. So that's just something you got to be aware of. But this is kind of the use case for the suppressor. Now, the reason that the suppressor is good in this scenario is not necessarily that the accuracy is great or anything like that, but what happens when you're zooming in on somebody, they're 300 yards down range, and you fire one of these? Direct hit, right? You pop them, they're like, oh, dude, we're getting shot from somewhere. From where? Well, the suppressor, you have no idea, because the further away you get, the quieter it is, and when you're like 300 meters out or 250 meters out with a suppressor, it's just simply difficult to tell where you're being shot from. I've been killed by AKs multiple times, suppressed, that, you know, you just don't know where it came from, and you're busy like trying to find cover, trying to stand behind a tree only to get shot in the back because you guessed the wrong side of the tree type of thing. So it's actually pretty difficult to tell when you're using a suppressor. Now, as far as like the accuracy, if you do try to use like full auto here, good luck. Because there's no chance, right, of making that happen. We'll throw on the 3x here and use that, because this was even a burst fire here. Like, look at this. We're trying to get just a few shots on target, and on the 3rd or 4th bullet, it's gone. You're not going to be able to control that shot. So 1, 2, 3, yeah, on the 4th one, it's all the way up here, and that's with me pulling down. So y'all might be able to pull that down a little bit. As Juicy said, he's a gyro player, and gyro players typically have a little bit better control because they can use the tilt of their device as well to control that stuff. So even with a 3x and a compensator, or excuse me, there we go. Even with the compensator on with a 3x, you can see the difference here. You can literally see the difference, like how many bullets are, like all of those could have been headshots. The same 3 to 4 shot burst. You don't have that flying off the paper. So yeah, if you can control your burst with this thing, throw 3x on it, yeah, it could be decent. But again, if you're sniping from distance, right? If you're using an AKM to shoot from distance, the compensator, yes, is a better option for accuracy, 100%. Gives you ability to burst a little bit more, use a little bit more ammunition in those shots, but at the same time, realize you're going to be heard with the compensator a long, long way away. That guy that's, you know, up on the mountain over here sniping, looking that way, well, he's now going to be looking right at you. He's going to be firing at you because he can hear you. Those shots are going to show up on radar and pinpoint your location. So that being said, ideal loadout for the AK is right here. It's this first one. We're going to go ahead, reload, and show you guys one last time. And there's your target. Booyah! I had a number of people say, how do you control your AK spray? I mean, there is 15 bullets to the head. 15 bullets to the head. Literally 15 bullets to the head. How are you going to survive that if you run into me? And I'm using a compensator all the way out at 100 meters. It doesn't matter. So the compensator, guys, is a far superior option on the AK for close range combat. It is noisy. You will draw attention to yourself, but with the additional damage from those 7.62 rounds, you are looking at an absolute machine. This thing's a beast. Absolutely lethal. So, compensator, that's what you're looking for. Anything higher than a red dot will substantially decrease your accuracy. You heard it from the pros as well. Red dot was the overwhelming preference, or even iron sights. Like, what? Again, in the case of that guy, he did point out, just like I would, that, if you're going to use your AK as a backup weapon, if you haven't found a DMR yet, such as an SKS or an SLR, or if you haven't found a Kar 98 yet, and you're like, well, I've got an AK because those are everywhere, you can put it on single fire, throw on the 6X, throw on the 4X, and you can tap with the suppressor from distance, and that can be your backup long-range weapon. It's a little bit difficult to get used to, but it's not bad from long range, and if that's your only option, it is what it is. But if you're rocking the AK as a primary weapon, as a, your main loadout, compensator and red dot all day long. Ask the pros, they'll tell you the same thing. So hopefully I've been able to give you guys a little bit of an education today on the AKM and what attachments you should be looking for. The comments in yesterday's video were shocking that many people did not know that. So it is what it is. Try it out. I promise you'll like it, and might change your mind as far as the AK and how usable it is, because I know a lot of people dislike the AK because it's all over the place and super high recoil, but maybe that's because you're using a suppressor. Take off the suppressor, use the compensator. Mark my words, it'll get better for you. Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video, smack that like button. Tune in tomorrow for some more PUBG Mobile action. Take care, guys.